The sheikhet is not allowed to use his knife to cut anything that's hot. Why not? Because his knife cut the neck of the animal and there was blood there. So his knife absorbs a little bit of the blood from the shechita, and now he's going to cut something that's hot. It's going to...
This came up earlier.
A long time ago. Shleisha Sakina we had like in Ches. So here, it's going to go out, and because you're cutting something that's hot, it's going to make the what you're cutting forbidden from the blood, because you had the shechita knife. Tzainen, however, to cut something with the shechita knife cold, Amri la bayhadacha v'amri la loy bayhadacha. There's two opinions. Some say that you need to wash off what you cut, and some say you don't need if you use the shechita knife. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Now we have Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel. So we moved like this, Rabbi Nachman. Now we're on Rabbi Yehuda, both in the name of Shmuel. If you have a pan that you use to do malicha, usually you don't do malicha in a pan. Why is he doing malicha in a pan? Usually you do malicha on something that it drains. Well, let's say, I guess you did. If you did malicha in a pan. Yeah, anything that's sticking. Oh, that's why. That's why. Yeah, that I get. In the Shulchan Aruch, they discussed this, that they would use a pot and they would put wood on the bottom of the pot to raise up the meat, and then they would salt the meat in this pot, and the blood would drip to the bottom, to the wood, where the wood was. And then in Shulchan Aruch you have this whole discussion if afterwards you come back and you find that the juice has rised above the level. Remember that Sifit Ches.
Is the word melicha or milsa? Because I have milsa written here, unless I'm looking on the wrong line.
Tell me another word next to it.
Wait. Where'd it go?
Oh, that's Milsa. That's Shmuel before. Go a little further.
Sorry.
That's Shmuel, an earlier Shmuel. Now we say Shmuel Taimei. Shmuel says that how does this pan become prohibited? The pan that's collecting the blood with the salt, because Damar Shmuel Maliach Hariyah Kuritayach. Shmuel says that Maliach salting is the same heat as roasting. The kavash hariyah k'mavushal, and pickling is just like cooking. There goes the ceviche. Okay. Kiyasa Ravin, when Ravin came Amar Rabbi Yochanan, he says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Ravin was our traveler here. Yesterday we had Ravin when Abaya says Ravin Tichla. Remember that? When Ravin didn't eat the udder. Ravin didn't eat it by Rav Papi's daughter's house. Okay, so he brings in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan, and Ravin is the traveler that would bring the halachas. Brings the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Maliach eina k'reiteach. Nope, salting is not like roasting. Reiteach means very hot, but here we're translating it as roasting. The kavash eina k'mavushal, and pickling is not like cooking. Amar Abaya says Hadar Ravin Lessa. Sorry? Abaya says again, it's funny, it's interesting that Abaya doesn't accept Ravin's. It says don't accept from Ravin. It's the second, in 2 pages we had 2 critiques of Ravin from Abaya.
Here it says Rabbi Yochanan said salted food is not like boiling food.
Right.
Yeah. You said roasted.
Yeah, that's interesting, because literally the translation is boiling. Reiteach means boiling, but before, when we quoted this before on Daf Tzadik Zayin, the Gemara said that what type of boiling are we talking about? The boiling heat of roasting. But that was explaining Shmuel. So they may be right in explaining Rabbi Yochanan, because it could be the wording okay, accepted. Dahi Pincha. There was this pan. Is that how they translate Pincha?
A bowl.
A bowl.
certain
Okay.
bowl.
Sounds like a pan. A bowl. The Have Bei Rabami, that was in the house of Rabami. The Malach Bei Bisra, that they salted meat in it. Vitavre, and then they broke it. Gemara says Michti. Rabami Talmud Rabbi Yochanan Have. Rabami is a student of Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah, they broke it because you can't use it because it was treif.
It says Rabami broke it.
Right.
Because he didn't want it to be used anymore.
Right. Rabami broke it. Right. Because the Pincha is cheres. You have that Kodesh al Cheres. Good. Because you can't kasher it. That's the point. So, my time at Tabri, why did he break it? It must be that he heard from Rabbi Yochanan that salting is like roasting or boiling, and therefore it would have absorbed the flavor. And so he doesn't accept Ravin's claim that Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold that salting creates a certain type of heat. Because Rabami, who's a student of Rabbi Yochanan, goes ahead and breaks a pan that meat was salted in it. Yosef Rav Kana Achvei de Rav Yehuda. Okay, we didn't have this before. We didn't have that. We have Rav Yehuda. We didn't have Rav Kana was his brother. But we did have, someone said before, I don't remember where, earlier in the Masechta, remember someone said, don't listen to what my brother Yehuda says in the name of Rav. Anyway, remember that?
Yeah.
So
It was the younger brother saying it about the older brother.
And do you remember if the name was?
I don't remember. I just remember the younger brother said, "Don't listen to my older brother."
Now, there's another gears on the side that it's not Rav Kana Achvei de Rav Yehuda. It's Rav Kahana is sitting Achayri de Rav Yehuda, behind Rav Yehuda. Just that one little Achvei could turn into a Achayri. So, and then it's not related. And Kamei de Rav Huna. Then they're sitting in front of Rav Huna. And the Yosef Kamar, he's sitting and he's saying, Karash Malach Babasar, a pan that meat was salted in it, Asalechel Baritech, you're not allowed to use for eating hot foods. It's nine Shachatcha Besakin, a radish that you cut with a knife. Here we're referring to a fleshik knife. Mutalachle bekutach. You're allowed to take that radish and eat it with kutach, which is a milk dish. It was made with like a yogurt.
It's a dairy dip.
Dairy dip. It had salt in it and it had breadcrumbs. Okay. So you're allowed to take a radish that was cut with a fleshik knife and eat it with milk. My timer. What's the reason? Amar Abaya, hay hetera bala v'hay yisura bala. Okay, so here it's interesting. The pan that absorbs the blood is forbidden. The knife that absorbed the flavor of meat is permissible. The flavors. The blood is forbidden. The knife absorbed meat. Meat so far is permissible. So therefore, Abaya says, he's explaining that when you're now going to take this radish and put it with milk, it was only a permissible flavor in there. Amalei Rava says to Abaya, Kibala heter maihavi, so what that it absorbed the permissible flavor? But seif hayater dasil de yisuru, it's a permissible flavor that becomes forbidden because you now go and mix it with milk. And meat and milk is just as forbidden as blood. The yisura kachli, he's eating something that's forbidden. Rather Rava says, what we mean is that the radish, you can take a taste of the radish before you mix it with the milk and say, there's no flavor of meat in here. It's no problem. Now I can mix it with milk. However, the pan that they used to roast, they used to salt the meat, you can't do any tasting there because it's already forbidden. Amalei Rav Papa Rava. So this was a conversation between Rava and Abaya. And now Rav Papa says, Abaya explained that there's a difference between if it's permissible or not. Rava says no, the difference is not if it's the difference is if you can taste it, to see if it has the flavor in it. Rav Papa says to Rava, So get a non-Jew to taste it. Tell me, does it have a flavor of blood? Milay Tanan, was it not taught in it's supposed to be Tanya, was not taught in a Braisa, Tesefta, and Shumas, that Kederi Shabishal Babasa Layavasha B'chalav, a pot that cooked meat, you shouldn't cook milk in it, Vim Bishal B'nais and Tam, and if you did cook, then you get to taste it. If it gives a flavor, then it's not kosher, and if it doesn't, then it is kosher. Bishal B'truma, if you cook a pot truma, it's Layavasha B'chulin, then you can't use it for mundane foods. Vim Bishal, but if you did cook B'nais and Tam, then you taste it. Amrina, and we said on that Braisa, we said earlier, Bishlay Truma, it works out well, it's appropriate by Truma that time like Kayin. You ask a Kayin to taste it, to see, does it taste like the Truma foods or not? A Kayin is allowed to eat Truma.
He's negei b'davar. No, it's kosher.
Is he negei b'davar?
If it's truma, then you can't eat it. It's more for me.
No, but he could sell it for a higher price if it's not truma, because there's more of a market.
You bring it to the kohen will say, "Yeah, it's truma. I'll take it."
No, we never asked that. We never discussed that. When we came to the non-Jew, we said misiach lefi tumai or leimarom nasei, or for some reason we're not concerned about that. It's a good point, though, coming from a kohen.
I know my brother.
Ela basa b'chalav.
Fancy slice.
Man to'em. But basa b'chalav, who's going to taste it? Va'amar and we said, va'amrit you said to us, l'tami kfeila, that it would get a chef. So achinam l'tami kfeila. So let a chef taste it. So why are you saying that there's a difference between if it absorbed the blood from salting, or if it was a knife that cut meat and now it's cutting a radish? What's the difference? Both the pan that absorbed the blood with the salting, or the knife, both of them you can get someone to taste. This one you get a Jew, and this one you get a non-Jew. So the Rabbi responds, what I'm referring to is when there is no chef around, and that's why we have to say that it's forbidden. Okay, the next piece is a very important piece. It's all about what we consider parav. It's called, in Shulchan Aruch, it's called Nat Bar Nat, very famous Taisvus. But I want to leave it for tomorrow because it's a big discussion.
Welcome to Josh Green.
Tomorrow, not famous.
Excuse me, I have 3 more bags or boxes in my car to carry up on my back. It's already pulled. If anyone can come down and just help me.